This episode of the MOC Squad was filmed in front of a live, members-only audience.
Greetings, friends. Rob, people were commenting that you were late, and I was clarifying it was not Rob's fault. It was my fault. We had a little technical glitch.
Damn you.
Yeah, so don't put it on Rob. Put it on me. The woes of upgrading your operating system and forgetting that certain pieces of software might not be happy with that change. So I apologize for the delay, folks. Rob, how are you doing?
Dude, I'm having a really difficult existential time coming to grips with the fact that 2023 is over. Not that I'm not excited to see it go, because I am. Oof. But I just can't. I mean, you know, the old cliche that time speeds up when you get older. Mm-hmm. And you're not in a machine that's making time speed up. You're not getting into the future through like a DeLorean.
No.
It's just an inevitable march to oblivion.
The time machine of your own body, basically,
true.
It's moving faster and faster, or at least we perceive it as moving faster and faster because we have less time to live. That's what it is.
It's true, and I feel good though. I still feel I feel healthy. I feel, you know, I don't have any aches and pains, and everything still works. If you know what I mean.
We come to the end. We come to the end of the year with all working parts, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, you know. It's been a weird. I think the world is in a. We're in a. You know, I think the world, humanity has collectively as a species, we need collective dreams again, because it seems like we're consuming ourselves, and we're not looking. We're not. It's funny. I'm watching For All Mankind, and For All Mankind is like technologically maybe 20 or 30 years ahead of us in many ways. Mm-hmm. And that was a result of the space program. We didn't land on the moon for political reasons. We got beat to the moon. So for all different kinds of reasons, not just political, we had to catch up. And in doing so, we saw like NASA owning their own patents, and the space program was progressing. And by 2003, the new season, space travel is becoming normalized. We inhabit the moon. We have a base on Mars that we're expanding. I feel that, you know, you read that this morning Iran wants to close the Mediterranean Sea. Yeah. Like, come on. You know, at this point, what do you hope to? I look at things like that. And I'm like, what do you hope to achieve other than provoke the planet? And at this point in our history, what does war? We've seen an ongoing war in Ukraine drag on through the entire year. What do they hope to achieve? At this point, what is there left to achieve? What did Hamas want to achieve by doing what it did to Israel? And now, of course, everyone's mad that Israel is reacting, but they don't have a choice. And Hamas could surrender at any time, you know, and it's like you could have turned the Gaza into Dubai if you wanted to. I mean, they really could have done that. They could have just, rather than focus on their Israeli neighbors, why don't they focus on their beaches and think, we could build a really awesome tourist spot here, put everybody to work, and turn this into a banging party central, the new Ibiza. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it's where's the collective dreams of humanity, of everybody aspiring to do better? Yeah. I mean, it's now that everybody's kind of stuck. They want the easy gratification of we've accomplished something by destroying others, or we've accomplished something by demanding everybody see us the way we want to be seen. Mm-hmm. I want the world to fit me, rather than let's move out. Let's move forward. Let's create something for all of us. Yeah. We should be aspiring to go to the stars, because the cosmos is endless. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot out there. Yeah. And it takes effort and dreams, and it takes technological innovation that will benefit all of us as we move out into the cosmos. And it's depressing to think that that's probably our destiny as a species if we make it. Because if we're not, we're just going to burn out.
Right.
And that would be a waste. That would be the ultimate example of human stupidity. Yeah. Is to allow our species to die on the vine. Because the Earth doesn't care if we're here or not. As a matter of fact, the Earth probably prefers that we're gone.
Sure.
So it doesn't matter what we do. If it's nuclear conflagration or whatever, in 1,000 years, or 2,000 or 3,000 or 5,000, 10,000, doesn't matter. There will be no evidence we were ever here.
It's a blink of an eye from a universal perspective. So
yeah,
even though it feels
only
like
we
an
care.
eternity to us.
And we don't seem like we care. And I don't want to start this Christmas weekend off on a depressing.
All right, so let's turn it around, Rob. Let's grab a cup of tea.
Let's talk action figures.
Let's talk toys, and let's talk movies and TV shows and all this stuff. A production note for our friends when I let you into the Zoom room. Those of you who are joining us here, remember, you can become a member by becoming a subscriber of the channel, and at the membership rate of at least $1 a month, you'll get the link for that. But those of you who are joining us here, in the past, I've been able to display a clock on screen. Again, because of these software issues that delayed us this morning, only the folks in Zoom are going to be able to see the clock. So those of you in YouTube land, you don't have to worry about it. But those of you, if you're keeping track of the time, make sure you're looking at my window, because I will have the clock running there. So anyway, Rob, we're ready for the final waterfall of 2023. So let's go ahead and let everybody in, shall we?
Oh, it's sad, the final waterfall.
The final of this year. There'll be plenty more. There's a final of this year. Here we go. Welcome, everyone. It's a waterfall of geekdom.
Sorry, I'm late, everybody.
Joining us here today. No, you weren't late. You were here precisely when you intended to.
That's right. An imagination connoisseur is never late. He arrives precisely when he needs to.
And it was my fault anyway. It was my fault. All right, I'm going to go ahead and
no, I don't like to assign blame. Just recognize the problem and let's move forward together.
Let's do it.
Solve the problem. Blaming people is for pussies.
And we will.
By the way, someone's probably just canceled me. You can't use that word anymore.
you heard that pin drop when Rob said that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go ahead and remember, as you come into the room, you raise your hand. That will put you on the queue to ask a question. And it looks like Doug is our first one to join us here today. So Doug, I'm gonna go ahead and add you to the chat. You should be able to join us now. Welcome, Doug.
Well, I'm first.
You are.
Oh my!
How's it going?
Oh my! A little bit of a rant, if that's okay.
This is the place for rants.
Oh, good. Well, my son asked me if I had my DVD of Adventures of Batman, 1967, the animated, and I knew he had access to my digital library, and I said, "Well, why don't you just put it on Apple?" And he said he couldn't because it poofed out of my digital library.
Yep.
So I know John Campia mentioned it about Discovery and kind of said, "Well, who has Discovery stuff and everything like that?" But this is a bigger problem than just Discovery and Sony and whatnot. I'm not very happy that, I think I paid like $20 for it or something back. And, but I was supposed to have bought it, right? It said purchased.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like I rented it.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to happen more and more because I think what's going to end up happening to the world is the way. Look, I'm a huge fan of capitalism. I think when capitalism is employed correctly, it can do great things. The problem is it never is. Greed always gets in the way. And when you have corporations owning these things, larger and larger corporations, the idea that they're part of culture, they're part of art, they're part of our history ceases to exist. All that they're going to look at is money. And the fact is, if you look at predominantly, I don't know what the actual numbers are, but I'll just say like 90% of human beings do not care about art. They don't care about paintings, symphonies. I mean, they really don't. Whatever's in front of them, whatever they're listening to, whatever they're looking at, it's in one ear and out the other. And there's a very small percentage of people that care. And that's true of movies as well. And I've always said that pop culture has a half-life of 20 years. I mean, I just pulled that figure out of my ass, but just from observation, eventually, unless unless something's in the top 10% of people watching it, there's not going to be, a corporation's going to look at that and go, this has absolutely no value to us because no one's watching it on our platform. Let's just 86 it. Well, where's it available otherwise? Who cares? We don't care because it's not value. And even if we own it, even if it's part of our own legacy and library, and then every year that goes by, people are going to want to watch older things less and less and less. One, because they're not interested. Two, because they won't know that they even exist. And whether it's ideological or whatever, people want to cul-de-sac instead of fridge things. I like to say cul-de-sac. They're going to cul-de-sac something, and it's going to be stuck in a cul-de-sac somewhere, and it'll never be seen again. And unless we, as a species, we have to start thinking about who and what we want to be. And we're going down. I think it's not even just a dark path. It's just a ridiculously stupid, uninspiring, useless path of ridiculousness. And frankly, if we're going to continue down this path, maybe all of humanity didn't deserve to be here in the first place. And we'll take care of that ourselves. But part of what our legacy should be is, yes, preserving Batman cartoons from the 60s, if that's what it takes. Because all of this stuff, I think, should be preserved. And the danger is that from a corporate standpoint, why should we care? There's nothing on a corporate spreadsheet that makes anybody want to care. Preserving, and the same is true of education. Education should be valued for its own sake, not because it has a dollar value associated with it. Because a great education will manifest in ways that aren't on some spreadsheet, that aren't necessarily available in the next fiscal quarter. It might not yield results till 20 or 30 or even 40 or 50 years down the road. And our entire civilization is going that way because we're in this position of, or place of hyper capitalism that's just stupid. It doesn't work. And we're watching it happen very quickly.
Do you mind if I put on my tinfoil hat for a minute?
No, please do.
Okay.
Hey, they're here, man. They're here.
Whenever something happens, I always think of how is this benefiting somebody money-wise?
Well, you should, because that's exactly why everything happens.
And 4 months ago, there was a new release of Adventures of Batman, 1967, released on Blu-ray. And now I've lost my digital copy of Batman 67. I don't know. Do they want me to buy the Blu-ray version, or well, does that have something to do with it?
I look, I think that when they remaster something into HD, here's the problem. Everything that's only on DVD is no longer valuable to streaming services or any digital platforms, because everybody wants things in HD. So if that's what they're trying to do when they remaster things, because and we're going to see, I'll tell you what we're going to see. You know how, I don't know if you've followed all the controversy about how True Lies or the James Cameron movies were upgraded using AI. That's going to happen more and more and more and more and more, because human beings are expensive, and using a software program is not as expensive, even if people have to use oversight. I mean, they're talking about, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but they're talking about remastering Deep Space Nine. They want to do it in 16:9. The show wasn't in 16:9. It's 4:3. But the powers that be don't give a fuck. And the problem is the effects weren't finished in 16:9, but they'll zoom in, they'll do whatever they have to do, and we'll wind up with an inferior product. And people bitch and moan and complain, and everyone will ask, what's wrong with it? I mean, and most people in 5 or 10 years won't care. Oh, we want our screens filled. They won't care whether it was, and we're gonna enter an age where the people that care are very small. There's a very small percentage of us left, and it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. But no one wants to look at standard NTSC video anymore.
No,
You know, 640 by 480.
It looks like my time is up. So have a happy holidays and everything, and all the best to you in the new year.
You too, Doug. And I didn't mean to be such a bummer.
Doug, I'm extending the time a little bit. So if you, because we don't have that many questions. So if you had anything else to comment on, you can.
Oh, okay. No, I saw my time go down. And,
yeah.
Oh, this is the time to wrap it up.
Yeah.
I just, do you think that with all this, with our digital libraries just poofing like it is, do you think that there's a chance of DVDs and Blu-rays and everything having a resurgence? Something like LPs is still around now.
Well, it's the thing is the difference between movies and music is that it costs a great deal more to remaster movies onto any kind of a digital format. And the real problem that I see is that essentially Blu-rays and 4K discs are like computer software, whereas vinyl, you just put a stylus on a grooved piece of vinyl, you know, and so the technology is 100 years old, and there's a lot more you need to enjoy movies. And there, unfortunately, if you go look, I was doing this the other day. There's a company called Magnetar that makes a 4K player that plays every disc format. It's $1,500. If I told people to go buy a disc player now, and they asked me what should I get, I would say buy the Magnetar player. And people are going to scoff at that because who wants to spend $1,500 on a disc player? Well, all the other disc players, there's no one making new players. You know, the Magnetar player is a new player. And eventually we're going to run out of machines to play our discs because no one's going to make them. And that's the scary part. So while I'm a huge proponent, I mean, my whole thing is if I can keep my player going for another 24 years, I mean, I can't even believe this, but I'll be 80. If I can live for 24 years more, I'll be 80 years old. I'll consider that an epic win. You know, maybe by then I'll be able to get through my disc collection that I have now. But I think we're really in a place where we need to start, you know, thinking about what do we want? You know, I keep going back. I always say this. I know I'm a broken record, but Yuval Harari's book, the Israeli historian who wrote Sapiens and Homo Deus, he asks at the end of Sapiens, which, by the way, it's a wildly entertaining book. It's 100,000 year history of humanity. It's so entertaining. But when you get to the end of the book, he asks a question. The question is, what do we as human beings want? What do we want as a species? Where are we going to go? I mean, he kind of sets a path in his second book, Homo Deus, in this series. But I think we all need to ask ourselves this. Where do we want to go? What do we want to do? What is important to being alive? What is important to being a human being? And I think right now, everybody, we're not asking ourselves these questions. And we're, you know, I'm a civilizationist. I want to move into the future. I want to go into a bright future that is based on technology, is based on respect. I do not want to see humanity dragged backwards by ridiculous, murderous ideologies that believe that it's okay to eliminate people for whatever reason. Let's go forward together where we can build, and that takes work and education, good health, all that. Civilizationist. That's going to be my new word for 2024. Are you a civilizationist? Because if you're not, you should be.
All right. Oh, thank you, Doug. Thank you for joining us today. And Robert, if that's okay with you, 9 minutes per person or so is going to be fine.
Sure, why not?
We don't have a ton of people, but we do have Alon joining us next. So I'm adding you to the call here, Alon. Welcome, my friend.
Dude, I owe you. I'm sorry I didn't get back with you. I've been crazy, but I did finish the audio drama.
Woo! Good news.
Yeah.
Shalom.
Shalom. How are things with you? How are things over there?
More of the same, I would say.
Yeah.
I am too civilization, so I say amen to everything that you said.
Yeah, we have to be. I think. Let me ask you this: have you seen anything? One of the headlines today was Iran is going to close the Mediterranean. Have you seen anything about that today?
I just heard you speaking about it. I did not hear anything about it.
Yeah, that's smart. Way to go, guys. What a
but
waste.
never mind. Regardless, I want to talk about the real important stuff, like Aquaman and like
oh man,
Rebel Moon and stuff like that. I still have not yet watched either of those, but for the first time in a long time, I'm really eager to watch a couple of those.
I probably shouldn't comment then.
Yeah, no, I've heard. I saw you on Critical Drinker, and I know that like some of those might be disappointing a tad bit.
Was he able to get that got a copyright strike from Toho because Chris Gore played some of the black and white footage from Godzilla -1 color, and
it got to me.
Yeah, that was a great stream.
Yeah, it was. I know I might be disappointed, but then again, I'm not really. It's not common sense. Hype is not about sense. It's about like feeling excitement. Which I am for some odd reason. Even though everyone told me that Aquaman sucks, and everyone told me that Rebel Moon might be disappointing. But I still am a little bit excited about them.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's funny. What I don't understand about Rebel Moon is Zack Snyder saying his director's cut of the movie is a totally different movie. And when he says that, I think about the difference between Ridley Scott's Kingdom of Heaven, the theatrical version, and then the one that I'll watch.
You don't have to go that far. The Snyder cut and Justice League were two vastly different movies from the same source material.
I just don't
very similar source material.
I don't understand why there's two versions of Rebel Moon. I mean, of the first one, like it's on a streaming service, but it's not.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the same movie.
Follow the money and see where it goes. As
they're just trying to recreate that idea of a Snyder cut of it all. But I would understand if it was theatrical, but it's on Netflix. It's on and the thing about Netflix's business model is they're not, they make money from a subscription service, and I don't think people are going to subscribe more to see a different cut of Rebel Moon. So
maybe some of them, I don't know. If it's worth their effort, if it's not a lot of effort to them to get like two for the price of one, to get two birds with one stone or something, maybe it's financially viable. I don't know. But I am excited to watch it. I still haven't. And there's not a lot other than that I think is worth watching right now. So I'll take what I can get. I think the What If is also starting either today or yesterday, something like that, which also can be pretty interesting. Anyways, I just wanted to say shalom and to wish you all happy holidays. And I don't really have a lot to talk about other than that.
Have you been playing any video games?
Not so much. Not this week. Not this week. But I've been catching up with God of War, which I still need to. I still need to finish the previous God of War in order to play the new one. And then there's the new DLC of the new God of War, which everyone says is awesome. But I'm not there yet. It will take me a couple of weeks at least to get there. Other than that, I don't know. I don't really have a lot of time, free time. I did start developing a new game. which I hope is going to be fun. I started learning new technology, and I'm excited about that. Thank you. That is mostly it, I think. Are you guys celebrating something? I mean, other than Christmas and New Year's, which is also exciting. I hope the New Year is going to be better than this last year, which was awful.
Yeah, no, I do too. I always look forward to that. I mean, I don't know. I think there's some really interesting thing. I'll say one thing. I think 2024 is going to be. It's an election year in the United States, and it's going to get crazy. It's going to get crazy here.
For sure.
I'm
judging
kind
from
of,
the last two election cycles, I think it's going to be crazy as the
I'm kind of looking forward to it. I think it's going to be the most entertaining and horrifying thing at the same time that's going to happen. Is going to be the next election year, and it's already started. Thank you, Colorado.
For sure.
You know, it's gonna be really interesting. It's such an interesting. I mean, it really is. I don't know. The United States. I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, if it's any consolation, I can tell you it's relevant everywhere.
Yeah. Yes.
It's not only the United States, but it's going to be better.
Yeah. Well, it can hardly get worse, but it certainly can get worse. You know,
exactly.
But we shall see.
That's it. That's mostly it. Have a great night, everyone.
Great
All
to
right,
see
good
you.
to see you, man. Stay safe.
Take care, Alan. Good to see you. Go ahead and move you out. And we got, hold on, let me reset the timer here. Okay. We got Justin Toner joining us next. Go ahead and add Justin here. Welcome, Justin. You should be able to join us. Welcome.
Got it.
What up, dude?
Hello, Rob.
Just, you know,
How's it going?
streaming on YouTube, trying to get projects done, watching the Warriors over and over on 4K because it's the greatest thing.
Yeah, I saw you put out a little thing on Facebook when you were watching it on your TV there in the observatory. Looks fantastic.
It's unbelievable. I love that movie. And I've loved that movie. I've owned it in every video format, but this is by far the best presentation of the movie I've ever seen. It's incredible. I mean, it's like, and it's depressing to see Arrow do such a great job, and then you compare and contrast True Lies with it.
I know.
And
I'm gonna hold off on that. I think I'm not too worried about the best because of how people said it looked when it was shown in theaters. Last month. So, but it might look better.
So
speaking of 4Ks, I have to work the holidays, unfortunately. So I got a lot of my gifts early, and that was a lot of Amazon gift cards, a lot. So I was able to buy a bunch of stuff that I've been wanting to buy for last year that I haven't. I got a bunch of 4Ks I've wanted really cheap. First one I grabbed was Goodfellas, and then I got Apollo 13, Field of Dreams, one of my favorites, and one of my all-time favorite Christmas movies, Christmas Story.
Yeah.
These are all like real cheap. They were like anywhere from $10 to $15 on sale, which is great.
Oh yeah, I mean, getting older 4K releases is the greatest thing now because they're cheaper.
My first 88 films release, the In the Line of Duty box set.
Yeah,
I've been wanting to get this for a while. This is fantastic. I love the book. I went through the booklet and everything. I've only seen two of the movies in here. Yes, Madam with Yo and Cynthia Rothrock, and then In the Line of Duty #3. I haven't seen the other Michelle Yeoh movie or the fourth entry yet. So I'm looking forward to these. I heard that the quality is really good. But then the piece de resistance, finally got this. I've been wanting this since last year. I got the Shaw Scope.
Oh, those are so great. Those box sets are so great.
Oh God, like the booklet and the packaging,
dude.
Just all the information here. I was just like, it's like precious, you know. It's so great. It's so awesome. I'm looking forward to watching all the movies on here. The only one I've seen is the 36th Chamber of Shaolin. I haven't seen any of the sequels. Some really cool movies in here, including an early Jet Li one too.
I know
in the 80s that he did for Shaw Brothers. So
I mean,
I'm
the explosion of Asian films
Yeah.
from the 70s, 80s, and 90s that is now available from these companies is astonishing.
yeah.
I mean, that Super Cop disc that came out, the police. I mean, there's so
Yeah,
many.
I need to get the 88 films 4K of Super Cop 3.
It's awesome. I mean, the stuff that
Or AKA Police Story 3. Yeah.
and it's funny because that is an area of my film knowledge that's lacking. You know, because I wasn't, when I'd watch these movies when I was a kid, I'd see stuff that it was already playing, so I didn't see the beginning or anything
I would
like
see
that.
like the odd occasional ones like on weekends at late night. But like I wasn't familiar with much martial arts stuff growing up outside of like Bruce Lee or the occasional Jackie Chan, I would say. And I haven't seen a lot of his like 70s and 80s stuff, you know. So I'm slowly like exploring that stuff, especially like there's a lot of like martial arts like low budget ones that are like on Amazon Prime that I've gone through over the years that pop in there. Some of them from Shaw Brothers, some from other studios. So it's a fun exercise. I love that watching that stuff. So I'm gonna have a fun time going through these box sets. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Also excited about how Godzilla -1 has been crushing it. They extended the run again. It's going to be in the States until the January 4th. They said so.
I mean,
it's so much money here.
Yeah,
it's made more money here than it did in Japan.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It is Godzilla -1, a movie whose director said, when somebody said it cost $15 million to make, and the director said, "Oh, I wish we had that much money."
So it was even less than that.
So yeah, it's made domestically. So worldwide, as of yesterday, Godzilla -1 has made $72 million worldwide. It's made $38 million in America, and outside of America, it's made $33 million. So it's already made $5 million more. Now, this is here, you know, just when you think, you know, that you want to get depressed about Hollywood or the state of entertainment, along comes Godzilla -1. If you had said to me, first of all, if you said to me we would have a Godzilla TV show running, we would have a Godzilla movie coming out with King Kong, a sequel, and a Toho quote unquote man in suit Godzilla movie burning up the box office charts, I would have said no way. No way.
Yeah.
And here we are. Because I'm enjoying Monarch, but this Godzilla movie it probably is the best Godzilla movie. People say it's the best Godzilla movie since the original. But
I think it's I don't know if I would say it's better than the original yet, but I definitely consider it like one of the best ever.
Oh, it's
no question it's one of the best Godzilla movies ever made.
Well, I think it proves that you can take any subject, you can take any genre subject, and with the proper application of an understanding of tone or story, you can make anything work.
Yeah.
And the approach, I mean, and I always bring it back to Star Trek, but I only wish that the people that were making Star Trek, people don't understand when I say this, but if you take the approach of Godzilla -1 and apply it to Star Trek, because the way I think of Star Trek in my mind is the way that the way that the director of Godzilla -1 approached Godzilla. He didn't think of it, oh, it's just a Godzilla movie. You know, it's Invasion of the Astro Monsters, you know, or
he really invested in the human characters so that it's like you're invested in them and what happens to them. And it just happens to have amazing Godzilla action on top of it. So it's like it's the perfect blend, because it's like you care about these characters and it's like and what this guy's gone through, the war trauma, you know, and him trying to move on, and it's like he can't until like
it's like a Star Trek
Godzilla
story.
embodies his trauma literally because of what happened during the war, and that he's like he blamed himself that he hesitated, and it's like I could have killed Godzilla and saved those guys, but I froze. You know, it's like it's fantastic. I went to see it again with some friends, and they all loved it. Some of them Godzilla fans, so one of them was not. She like knows about Godzilla, but she doesn't like watch all the movies, and she thought it was fantastic.
Well, the funny thing about this is, even if you've watched, this is so different than well, I mean, it's interesting because if you watch Godzilla -1 and then you watch the last Toho Godzilla movie, Shin Godzilla, which basically is about a FEMA-like department in Japan that treats Godzilla as a natural disaster. I think that they work really well together as a double feature if you watch Godzilla -1 first and Shin Godzilla afterwards.
Yeah, no, Toho is on a roll with their Godzilla movies between Shin and this one. So I hope they can keep it going before they make the next one. I would not mind if they do a direct sequel to -1 with the way this movie ends. So
I mean, I think there's and again, you're seeing a lot of. I mean, I hate to bring it back to what I was saying earlier, but you can't put topics. If you're going to make a movie and tell a story, you can't look at a spreadsheet and have a spreadsheet tell you what kind of a story you should make.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the thing about it is, no corporation, no American corporation would look at a spreadsheet about this movie and go, "Oh, we're not going to make a movie like this. Who's going to go see it?" You know, but
I hope Hollywood learns its lessons. Hopefully,
it won't be.
But time is almost up though, so it's been a pleasure, Rob. I hope you and Elizabeth and everybody have Merry Christmas.
You want a puppy? We have 2 puppies we have to house.
You got your hands
I can't take it anymore. I
Good
can't
luck.
Thank you. Have a happy New Year and a Merry Christmas. And by the way, I like Christmas. Christmas is all around us. I always thought of Christmas as, even when I was a little kid, I had a time when my parents had explained to us when we were little kids that we don't celebrate Christmas anymore because we're Jewish. And it was weird. It was weird. I was looking at my mom, and I was trying to, because I had a rudimentary understanding of, you knew the Christmas stories and Jesus and the manger and all that.
Right.
And I didn't understand. I'm like, but Mom, like Santa Claus, it's an imagination connoisseur holiday. I mean, I didn't say imagination connoisseur, and I didn't understand, like, there's 2 different Christmases here. So you're telling us, well, why can't we? Because, I loved all the Christmas specials, like Santa Claus is coming to town and all that. And I didn't understand like what
religion
religion had to do with Santa Claus.
Yeah.
My
funny,
mom,
right?
like, well, it was like she didn't have a reason. It was like, how are you're telling me, Mr. Horror sci-fi guy, that I can't celebrate what is clearly a science fiction story about a guy who somehow can bend time and space to get into everybody's house and drop the prison. I mean, it's like, and one of my favorite, I've told people about this, but I don't think I know anybody who's read this book. There's a horror novel that was written by a guy named Robert Devereaux called Santa Steps Out. And I think now it's like a trilogy or something, but the original Santa Steps Out is the most NC-17. It's basically about Santa having a hardcore relationship with the Tooth Fairy and how it shakes the mythological world. And it's hardcore. And I've always wanted somebody like a Ralph Bakshi to make an animated version. Maybe I would love to do it one day and just make it a total, I mean, it borders on X-rated, but it's awesome.
That's awesome.
And it's somebody should make it.
I had a similar situation, Rob, when I was growing up. My best friend, that was like my first friend as a young kid that I can remember, was the neighbor whose backyard kind of ran into ours, and he was Jewish. But again, as kids, I didn't know, I mean, I knew I went to church. I was raised Catholic, and so
my best friend was Catholic, and I went to his first communion and stuff, and I liked church too.
Yeah.
I loved going to church. I'm like, this is like right out of because I figured if you have, the Catholic priests, if there's Catholic priests around, there's vampires somewhere.
There's an exorcism happening somewhere, right?
Yeah. Because the Catholic priests are the only ones standing in defense of the great evils.
Yeah. So the funny thing, Rob, is it was Easter time. It wasn't Christmas time, but it was Easter time. And my mom had said something about we were going to go to church, and I wanted to invite my neighbor. Hey, can Danny come? Can Danielle come with us? And she said, "Oh, well, they're a Jewish family. They don't celebrate the same things we do." And I'm like, "Okay, why is it?" "Oh, because they're Jewish." I was like, "Okay." So then later that day, I'm watching. This is the time when all the broadcast networks would show Passion films, during the day, especially in Puerto Rico being such a Christian country, Christian nation. So I'm watching, and they're showing the crucifixion, and they put the plaque on top of Jesus's cross. And I asked my mom, what does that say, Mom? He's like, oh, that says, here's Jesus, the King of the Jews. So I immediately ran out to my friend's house. I said, hey, you can come to church with us. Jesus is your king. Jesus is the King of the Jews. Not having any conception of this.
And where did they live? Where were they?
They were
no.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Where was he? Where were all those people?
How was he
Where?
raised? Yeah.
Yeah, where did they come from?
Yep.
Kentucky?
Exactly. All right.
No,
anyway, I always remember that being kind of my parents were cracking up and realizing from a kid's perspective, what does it, what the heck?
Oh yeah,
we're all just friends, right?
Well, that was the case.
Yeah.
When I was in Cub Scouts, when we went around to the old folks' home and sang Christmas carols, me and Jason Levin would sing like Hanukkah songs.
Right.
Hanukkah, oh Hanukkah, come light the menorah. Let's have a party. We'll all dance the hora. Gather around the table.
All right, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go ahead and put Stubble in, who's been patiently waiting. Welcome, Stubble. You should be able to join us now. Hello, Stubble.
Hello. I should just start the video as well. Well,
what's going on, dude? Again, thank you again for my vast array of Dresden Files books.
Have you had time to check out any more of them?
I have not, only because I've been so busy with work stuff, trying to finish White Devils and finish up. By the way, the proof of concept for the audio drama is completely done, and I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, I'm surely will check it out and probably.
Were you able to get the certain files I sent you to work?
Yes, they worked right away.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Don't they look good? Now, did I send you the team net the fourth file? Did I send you 4 files?
No, just 3.
Just 3. Okay, because the fourth file is it's made by different people, and they wanted it to. I just say it. Okay, I'll just say it. I may or may not have sent Stubble McShave the original 1977, 1980, and 1983 versions of the Star Wars trilogy.
I'm not confirming anything.
Yeah, well, there's another group of people, the Team Negative people, that have made it look like what it would look like as a film print playing on a movie screen. So it looks like a print. It's really interesting. I may or may not send you that file if I had it.
Yeah. Well, I'll be surprised if it just shows up then.
Right. Yeah. The interesting thing, you can have all different soundtracks and kinds of stuff.
Anyway, I sent in a tip the other day. Talked about the public domain.
Oh, and guess who's in the public domain now?
Yeah, in 8 days, I think Mickey Mouse or
Mickey Mouse, the Steamboat Willie iteration of Mickey Mouse, is in the public domain.
Yeah, and I thought about, you said you wanted to live till you were 80 or something, and I'll just say that stay healthy, because in like 10 years you can do James Bond, and you can do Batman, and you can do a lot of things.
You can make James Bond is in the public domain in Canada.
Yeah.
So theoretically, you could make a Canadian James Bond movie, but you couldn't play it anywhere else in the world. Although they'd probably come after you. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what
Casino Royale is public domain in 2034.
Oh yeah.
So just stay healthy,
stick around.
Yeah.
Make my own Bond film.
And I checked out, Superman. He does have, he don't have his powers, and in the beginning he has.
Right. He can't fly. He can only leap tall buildings in a single bound.
But I think Batman is more or less fully formed from the start. Right.
Yeah.
And he and many of his rogues gallery, like Catwoman, Clayface, Hugo Strange, and Joker, all of those will be public domain in 2035.
Wow.
That made me think about DC and its value.
That's interesting.
In 5 years or so, it will just be 6 years until those characters become public domain. So what will the value of DC be if you don't have exclusive rights to Batman?
Well, I think the it's the underlying character rights, because like for instance, Thor is public domain because he's a Norse god, but the iteration of Thor that was created for Marvel Comics is owned by Marvel Comics. So you can't have an iteration of Thor that's redolent of the Marvel Comics and now Disney owned version of Thor. And I think the same is true of like when Steamboat Willie, when that goes into the public domain, it's only that iteration of Mickey Mouse. Like, and I don't.
But like in 2035, when Batman and some of his rogues gallery, you can do Batman and Joker, but you can't have the Batmobile, for example.
Right. Exactly.
So, but I think so in 5 or 8 years, will the DC brand, lose some of its value?
I don't know if it'll again, because the iterations of the characters, there's so much there, and I mean it's so expensive to make a superhero movie and things like that. So I think it'll. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see, because we've never lived through a world like that. There's never been a world where such large pop culture characters that have dominated our landscape for so long suddenly move into the public domain. As much as Disney has tried to prevent this from happening, I mean, I still think that it'll happen like each individual. The great thing is, I look at it this way: it's really hard to make great movies and television, and it takes a lot of time and effort, and people are inherently lazy. So even the people that might mount the most effective or the versions that, if somebody gets a lot of money and is able to make a big budget Mickey Mouse movie or James Bond movie or superhero movie, I still don't think it will devalue the James Bond franchise or the superhero franchises. They'll still be able to make those kinds of movies.
But you could have like a Spider-Man movie with Batman showing up.
Well, yes. And that's going to happen anyway, as the deluge of things. I mean, I would say in 10 years, it's going to be really interesting to see if people even care after AI becomes, people will just be able to, you'll be able to insert yourself into movies. You'll be able to cut and paste yourself into a real James Bond movie. AI is going to be able to do so many crazy things. It's going to be interesting to see if people even care about movies in 25 years.
I think I'm continuing on this topic a little bit, because Donald Duck will be public domain in like 5 years or something. I wouldn't be surprised if you have like a quacking serial killer running around slashing people.
Oh, it's like we saw that with Winnie the Pooh and stuff. I mean, or the thing, you could make like a Howard the Duck movie. Howard the Duck, the comic book, was kind of a dark parody of society. It wasn't anything like the movie George Lucas made. So you could make a Howard the Duck movie starring Donald Duck and make it a political satire the way Steve Gerber's original comic was, if you wanted to do that. So yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna see, and the real question is, 99% of it's going to be awful, whatever's made.
Right.
So there's.
But like a Marvel thing, a Sony Spider-Man thing could have Batman in it, and they could do like a big budget movie.
Yeah, they could. You absolutely could.
Yeah, so it will be interesting. By the way, when you get to changing topics here a little bit, when you get to the Dresden Files, the rest of the books, I'm just going to warn you: the second book is an okay book, but it's the weakest of the bunch.
Should I skip it, or is it for continuity? Do I have to read it?
You don't have to read it. You can read it afterwards. It's not much continuity. He meet a few college kids who reappear later on. You could skip it.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can go back to it later on if you want to.
All right.
Yeah. The third one is a banger. It's a great.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. and the rest
All right.
are great. Yeah. So yeah, and I would like to when you read it, I would like to hear what you think.
Yes. I will. I'll try and read. I'll try and read another one this week.
Yeah, but you know, no commitment. You don't have to do it, but I think you will enjoy it.
Mm.
Right. I think my time is more or less up. So
Well, it's good to see you. Have a good Merry Christmas. Is Christmas fun in Sweden?
Yeah, it's fun. We don't do the big light shows and stuff,
Right.
and all of that, but it's nice.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Have a happy
Well,
holiday.
now that Wham is the #1 Christmas song in the UK after 40 years, all is right with the world. Go, George Michael.
See you, Stubble. Take care. Have a great holiday.
Did you guys hear that? That's actually true? You know how they have the #1 Christmas song, like in Love Actually, they have a #1 Christmas song in England every year. And when George Michael's Last Christmas came out, it was beat by Do They Know It's Christmas? So it was never the #1 Christmas song. But this year it was voted the #1 Christmas song. So it came out originally in 1984.
Right.
So 39 years after the original. Actually, it might have been 83 it was officially released, but it is now the #1 Christmas song in England.
Yeah. It's
So Christmas is all around us.
the last year, didn't they release a 4K remastered version of the original Last Christmas video?
Yeah, probably.
It came out last year, I think.
I used to have a mini Laserdisc of all the Wham videos.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I should admit that. I love Wham. I love George Michael. I think he's one of the great pop vocalists of the modern age.
And there's a good documentary about Wham on Netflix.
Yeah, that was a really good documentary. I really like that documentary.
All right, we got Ish, who's probably being very busy making cookies this Christmas season. So
yeah, come on, buddy. Let's make those Christmas cookies.
Yep. Made the cookies.
I just have to imagine that your house just smells like that. You just walk in and you just get a contact high just smelling the oven baking those cookies.
Yeah, sometimes. But yeah, I just made some for one of my mom's friends, and then she because my mom had once a Christmas raffle, and so she gave a bunch of the stuff away, but my mom couldn't fit. They had a wine table, and it wouldn't fit in her car, so she gave it to her friend to hold it so I could go pick it up. And I was supposed to pick it up, but my mom was like, "Well, make her some cookies." So I made her the cookies, and then she tells me that she's not going to be ready to do it until next week. So I'm like, those cookies aren't going to stay here a whole week without somebody eating them, and those things aren't cheap to make either. So I was like, okay, yeah, you're not getting no cookies.
Yeah, no cookies for you.
Yeah, you want to change the date? Come on.
Those cookies, man. I mean, I know we talk about them, but they cannot be oversold how good they are. I mean, they are that good.
That's over like let's see, like 35 years of making them. So yeah, that's why.
Well, I'll tell you, what's really funny about those cookies is if you leave them out where other people who don't know what they are, they just think, oh, there's a cookie, I'll have a cookie. If other people taste them, they turn into ravenous beasts, and however many cookies are left, they just disappear. I mean, I made that mistake. I think the last time you gave me cookies, I made that mistake. I mean, I have a house with 3 girls, and I made the mistake of setting them down on the counter or something, and I had eaten like 2 of them.
Yeah,
and they just were gone, vanished, gone.
Yeah, that's what my friend did. I went to my grandmother's house for Thanksgiving, and my goddaughter's birthday, and so I made some, and then I rode over there because I live in Victorville, so I rode with my friends over there, and when we were leaving, I was like, dang, I didn't even get a cookie. I go, did anybody eat them? And my friend's sitting there in the car eating them, and she has a whole stack of them. I'm like, dang, did you leave any for anybody else? I'm like, that's so messed up. She's like, well,
I mean, they are that good.
Yeah, but what I want to say is, I can't believe that Agent Cody Banks 2 just went off my television.
Dude,
right? I was like,
why do you even watch that movie?
It was so bad because I hadn't seen it in so long. I was like, it can't be that bad. It's that bad. That movie is terrible.
The only thing good about it is my single card credit. The main
that movie that I can't even believe that they made that. That somebody like said, okay, yeah, we're gonna do this. Like it's so terrible.
It is terrible. I mean, and you know, that's what happens when, I mean, I could write a book, and I should write a book called The Unmaking of Cody Banks. It is because the original Cody Banks script that we sold to MGM was a great script. Zach Stentz and Ashley Miller wrote it. And, you know, like I've told people, it was Ferris Bueller meets James Bond. And it was awesome. It was like a Bond movie, but it was really, really good. And then the studio, after we sold it, they decided to make it for tweens, you know, for 8 to 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
And that's when, and not that Frankie Muniz wasn't fine, but what I wanted was, the new Matthew Broderick at 16.
Yeah.
And it would have appealed to people. And here's the crazy thing. It didn't make a ton of money, but it was successful enough that they greenlit Cody Banks 2 Destination London immediately. And they put it into production with, like, I don't know, I had, to be honest, nothing to do with that movie other than I was required to get paid. And I made 6 figures on that movie. Like, okay. I'll take that money. But what was really sad about that was the Cody Banks franchise could have lasted a long time.
Yeah.
And that movie was so unbelievably awful that it just murdered, and it didn't make any money. But you look at it and you're like, how, when you lose control, once you sell, we sold the film, and so we didn't control it anymore. And that was as a producer, I learned that you have to retain some kind of creative control, because if you just sell it to a studio, they'll just do whatever they want. And what happens is the filmmakers lose control, and then it becomes simply a corporate product. And they make these corporate decisions like, oh, we're going to take this movie and turn it into, make it for tweens, because some analytics somewhere said, make it for tweens, make it for 8 to 12-year-olds. And it's like, but the script you bought was designed to be for high school, college, and young adults in their 20s. It was very much in the tone of like a Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Back to the Future meets, and they just fucked it up. When I saw that movie, I mean, I know my name's on it and I got paid. I was embarrassed. I was just embarrassed by it. And I was embarrassed that somebody couldn't look at the movie that they were making and go, this is terrible.
Yeah. I can say that about a lot of movies, because they should have said that about the Star Wars sequels too. Because I don't know how that got. I don't know how that got made. Some of the things I was just watching them the other day. I still watch them because it's Star Wars. So, you know, I love being in that universe. But it's hard just seeing some of the choices that they made. It's just like, wow, you guys didn't even think about this. You just put this crap out, and it made us all swallow it.
Yeah, it's that's what I don't I feel that way about Star Wars, about Star Trek. I'm like, how is it that intelligent people, like, and it's funny because clearly by not being immersed in something, and you'd think that like J.J. Abrams would know better, but I wonder, is J.J. Abrams, like, he's made 5 science fiction movies.
Yeah.
And I've hated them all. I didn't just dislike them. I hated them. Like, watching Star Trek Into Darkness, I think I would rather have somebody use pliers and pull out my fingernails and toenails than watch the monumental stupidity that is Star Trek Into Darkness again.
Yeah, I don't like how they were transporting people through space. If that's the case, why even use a starship? You could just transport to another planet.
Not only that, you have Khan's in a single person attack craft of some kind.
Yeah, and it has a whole other planet.
It has a transporter that can beam him to the Klingon homeworld.
Yeah,
from San Francisco.
Yeah,
and what's so interesting about that is, first of all, where does the power that you would need to, let's just assume, like, if you take the technology in the Star Trek universe, the kind of power, like, and by the way, it's not unprecedented, The first time we saw somebody beam a humanoid through the galaxy was actually at the end of the second season of the original series, when Gary 7 is beamed to Earth from a very distant location, and the Enterprise is like, that technology is way beyond anything in the 23rd century. And so, of course, somebody would have had to have watched that episode to understand that we've already had a precedent set for this kind of thing. And when you do that, it's just magic, and you've broken the universe with one thing. And then
the problem is that we're living we're living idiocracy right now.
I know
that movie. I never thought that movie was going to predict our future. I thought it was supposed to happen in 500 years, not 5 years.
Yeah.
Because the dumbing down of our species is happening right now, and I'm watching it, and I can't believe it.
I me neither. I mean, the monumental stupidity that we're watching on a daily basis is just beyond me.
Yeah, but time's running out.
Well,
but I just want to say, hope everybody has a happy New Year's, and be safe. Think about your choices. Don't get an Uber. Don't go driving drunk, because want to see y'all here next year.
Yes, we will all be here next year.
Yep.
Indeed.
All right, guys.
It's great to see you, man. Have a great holiday.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Cookies, man. We got to get together. You live close.
What am I doing here? What?
And Mikey, I know Mikey's going to spread some good cheer.
Oh, sorry, I'm looking at my wrong window here. We've got Mikey Lito coming up next. Let me go ahead and add him here. Yep. And welcome, Mikey.
What's up, dude? How are you?
The tradition of Festivus begins with the airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
Here it comes.
So, first of all, let me get some shout outs out of the way. It's good to see Scott Bartholomew on camera. Hello, Scott.
Good to see him here too.
A advanced happy birthday to Mr. Tom Jr. Jackson, whose birthday is tomorrow on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
My good buddy Justin Toner down there. Howdy, Justin. I don't know where I want to go with this. Did you see Rebel Moon?
I did.
RM and I traveled to New York City to the Paris Theater on Tuesday to see Rebel Moon on the big screen. And,
did you see it in 70 millimeter?
Supposedly. I couldn't really tell whether it was 70 millimeter on its screen, but all of their promotional material said it was 70 millimeter.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Did you?
It actually reminded me of
Battle Beyond the Stars.
Your buddies. No, it wasn't bad. I don't think the movie was bad at all.
No, Battle Beyond the Stars. It was like Battle Beyond the Stars.
It reminded me of the first X-Men movie.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Cora's going around assembling her team,
right?
And we get to see all of their different skills, and then we have a big set piece to end the movie, and we have part 2 in April. I don't see what the problem is.
Yeah, I mean, look, I just thought it was a little. For me, I thought it was a little derivative, and
that's my word.
There's not a lot of originality happening there, and I'm not a Zack Snyder hater, but I think that the things I've liked the least of his are Rebel Moon and Army of the Dead.
Well, I didn't like Army of the Dead at all.
Yeah,
but in 2023, how much have we seen that's not derivative? I mean, anybody that watched my review of Dead Reckoning Part 1, that was completely derivative.
Yeah, I know. I was that might be my year's biggest disappointment, to be honest. It had some good set pieces, but no, that movie doesn't make a lick of sense.
Then yesterday I saw, it's been a busy week, Aquaman.
What'd you think?
Muddled. Very muddled movie. I did not like it at all.
Yeah. I loved the first one. Loved it. And again, you could tell that I think the movie had too many cooks. I mean, I'm a big fan of James Wan. And
I like pointing out to people that the producer of the film is the co-chairman of the upcoming DC studios, Mr. Peter Safran. So if that bodes well for the future.
Well, but he's also produced a lot of James Wan's movies. I think that there was a lot of studio interference and rewriting and reshooting and changing things around, and it was I just didn't understand. It was kind of I mean, it was just empty, muddled and empty.
It was very strange.
It really was. I mean, it seemed
Monday,
to me
Jewish movie day.
Jewish movie day. What are you going to go see?
I'm out to see The Color Purple, the musical.
Yeah, you know what? I'm really excited for that. I mean, I love the first film.
I'm hope that I will be after it's over.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I have to tell you though, at CinemaCon, I will remember 2023. There's a few things that when the first thing that we saw at CinemaCon in that big room full of thousands of people, the Celine Dion Theater, when Oprah Winfrey came out on stage, it was really interesting because she has a power. Like everyone, like when she walked out, nobody was expecting to see her, and everyone stood like she has a power. You know, she fills the room, and then she brought out the cast and the director, and she's like the new E.F. Hutton. You know, when Oprah Winfrey speaks, everyone listens. And the clips they showed an extended look at the film. It looks phenomenal. It looks beautifully directed. I never saw the stage musical, but it really, I think it's going to definitely be a worthwhile from a visual standpoint, and the music and the performances. It looks, from what I've seen of it, it looks like it's going to be great. I hope it's great.
I hope it will be. I've seen that it's gotten good advance notices. So, but then I don't think like other people. So
I was a little, as much as I liked the way it was shot, I was a little disappointed in West Side Story. Spielberg's West Side Story, and I love the original West Side Story.
Well, number one, I warned you about that.
Yeah, I know.
and because he produced Cats, but I did like the opening. I like the setting because the setting
of West Side Story
of his West Side Story.
Yeah, it was awesome.
But it actually made sense to me.
Yeah, that was all. There's a lot of it. I just don't think. I think the weakest part was like when they met. You know, there's just stuff in there that didn't connect. It didn't connect with me as much as I like. There's a lot of great stuff in it, but I'm hoping Color Purple's great.
And then Tuesday,
have you seen Maestro yet?
No, but apparently the Paris is putting Maestro back in the theater after they finish with, well, I guess Rebel Moon is done already. So they're putting Maestro back in the theater now, but I'll watch it on Netflix and see it. I saw your commentary about it on Twitter X. I heard somebody call it Twitter X, and I like that name, so that's what I'll call it.
Twitter X, yeah. Yeah, the fact that I just love the idea. It's so funny to watch because somebody said that how did Maestro skip over Leonard Bernstein's tutelage of Lydia Tarr? And I just love because Tar is my favorite movie last year. I'm obsessed with Tar. I'm obsessed with Tar. I love Tar. But that it just that was so much fun. I was like, what a travesty. Because there's people that still believe that Lydia Tarr is a real person. And I love that. I just love it. And in my mind, of course she is. Yes, she is.
Tuesday, Mr. Paul in Long Beach, RM, and I are going to go see some movie. We had planned on seeing Aquaman, but Regal screwed up the.
Wait, is Paul in Long Beach going to be in your neck of the woods?
He's in New York today.
Wow. I've never met him face to face. I was going to once.
He's coming in for a quick visit, and we're all getting together on Tuesday, and I think we're going to see Ferrari.
Oh yeah, I'm dying to see Ferrari, a new Michael Mann movie. Come on, can't wait.
So that's what is going on. So I had a Festivus bit that I was going to do, but apparently the audio's not working, and I don't feel like being political today. So I'm just going to wish you a happy holiday and everyone in the audience a happy holiday or Merry Christmas, and hope for better things next year, which you are absolutely correct. It is going to be absolutely insane.
It's going to be insane. Yeah.
Mikey, it's great to see you. Have a happy
Good
new
to see
year
you.
and a restful holiday.
Hey, Roberto, take care.
It still is a highlight seeing all of you. I do enjoy these member calls and seeing everybody, and still doing the channel. In the last, I think all of our subscribers that we lost have come back.
Nice.
Because I was on a Critical Drinkers stream, and that was a great stream, I thought.
Nice.
So yeah, it because it was getting a little depressing watching
the numbers go down,
plummet. It's funny. I should talk. I put up a Burn Hollywood Burn thumbnail, and people come back.
Yeah.
I don't. But everyone says to me, I don't want to go negative. I mean, I don't want to say this sucks, that sucks. I'd like to talk about corporate mergers and things and how those things actually are bad for art. But I can't. People always ask me to do reviews. I don't like doing reviews. I mean, I like talking about I hate things, but I don't want to do or like things, but I don't want to do straight up reviews because everybody does reviews.
Yeah.
And out of the theater reactions. And especially because everybody knows, if you like with Aquaman, there's no world where anybody thinks Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is a good movie, and it's depressing. It's depressing to see. I don't like wallowing in the muck of things that are bad, because there's still a lot of things that are really good out there. I mean, if you think about it, that musical of Color Purple that Spielberg and Oprah Winfrey got behind and producing. You've got Michael Mann's biopic of Enzo Ferrari. There's a lot of great Godzilla -1. You've got all kinds. You've got the as Israel will tell us, The Boy and the Heron. You got a Miyazaki movie out. There's so much good stuff.
Yeah. That
I kind of want to concentrate on in 2024 to counterpoint the shit show that is the world. To concentrate more on what's good,
right?
Because there's still lots of, I mean, just the fact that we suck as a species doesn't mean that there aren't a lot of people out there creating good things. Like I look at For All Mankind, and For All Mankind season 4 is great, and where it goes is great.
Yeah.
I mean, episode 7. Did this week's episode? Did you watch it, Roberto? Did you watch it?
I still haven't watched the most recent one. It's weekend watching for me, so I haven't had a chance to see it yet.
I've seen the whole season, but I think episode 7 begins with Sergey.
Okay.
Sergey. I think where he's driving to work. You see him in his life, and he's driving into work. And his life, and the way there's a couple of things that they do in For All Mankind, like Sergey being one of them. There's one other thing where they circle around. I want to say, is it episode 10? Where it goes like 2 years ago. I love when and they've done this where they circle around back to things that you forget, and because the genre of show that For All Mankind turns into something. I'll just say it turns into a heist movie. It turns into like Ocean's 11, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, it gets awesome. And I love it. I love the show so much. And in my mind, it is the Star Trek universe. It's the history of the Star Trek universe.
The genesis of the Star Trek universe. Yeah.
For All Man, and because Ron Moore, in my head canon, For All Mankind is if I tell people to watch Star Trek, I can now say For All Mankind is the actual real prequel, even though it's not.
Yeah.
But it is.
Nice.
in my mind.
All right, let's see. Maybe Pedro has been watching for all mankind. We'll go ahead and have him join us here now. Welcome, Pedro.
What's up, man?
Hi, you're right.
What's that?
You okay? You're okay. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, no, things are. I'll be happy to see this year go away, but for the most part, you know.
Yeah, it's been a pretty crazy year for me. I have to say, it's been pretty crazy. Yeah. Yeah, I've had like loads of loads of unnecessary attention in some places, some corners of the old internet, and I recently found out that my bullies and trolls and whatever, they created a subreddit about me.
Yeah, but you gotta stop giving him ammunition, man.
Well, it's what they're actually doing is they're building up a subreddit to obviously shame me, but what they're doing is they built up a long list of places that they feel that I've been banned from, like forums where they've screenshotted tweets that I've said where I've been banned from, but then they've gone and basically assumed in some places that I've been banned from certain forums as well. So they're building a whole list of forums that I've been basically banned from, and basically they've gone into you know our Discord, the Post-Geek Singularity Discord. They've been taking screenshots from there as well, of basically where I've been. So they've been doing that to I know.
Well, you could look at the flip side, that somebody cares enough to be doing all of this. Obviously, you've touched a nerve.
It's the fact, no, Rob, it's the fact that there are places that I've gone to, like forums I've gone to, which I've never mentioned to anyone before, that they found. And not only that, but they've actually gone through every single post I've ever posted to try and find some argument so that they can post that to say that I'm a troublemaker. So
somebody's in love with you.
I don't want that back. I mentioned this, I mentioned like people, it's I don't know how you feel about people taking screenshots of the Post-Geek Singularity Discord, but I think that's, Josh obviously doesn't care. I know Josh doesn't care.
Well, you can't, that's something you can't really prevent.
No, I know. They're doing it just because of me. And the sad thing, and this is the thing that probably makes your blood boil personally, is that they're doing this because of I have an interest in physical media. That's what it is.
That's why they're mad at you?
Yeah, because I supported a games console that, with the possibility of it keeping physical media around. That's basically it.
That's odd.
Yeah, and because just due to the Amico games console. So that's all been happening, but it's been pretty chaotic apart from that. But it's actually one thing I actually wanted to say before last time I spoke to you, is that I actually got interviewed recently for a podcast, Doctor Who podcast. And it was basically what he's trying to do is he's trying to do interviews with people in the industry. But he's also the guy who runs the podcast is the person. He's basically he bought Gallifrey Base Forum, and he does a Outpost Gallifrey, sorry, but now he does interviews with just people in the industry, but also regular people like myself who aren't in the industry, to find out our troubles trying to get into the industry. So I was able to talk about that a lot, but also he also wanted to know about the whole thing about forums, because he's had problems with forums as well, and moderators. He wanted to know about my experience being on forums. So interestingly, this kind of ties together. And I was able to talk at length about my problems being on internet forums and the reasons why, and obviously me being autistic, how that can cause problems, but also how that's not really my fault as well in some areas and stuff like that. So it's been really interesting. I'll give you the link to it, but obviously I don't want to totally advertise it because I don't want to bring undue attention, but I'll provide you with the link. It's an interesting discussion.
Well, that's good. So you felt it was worthwhile participating in that discussion?
Well, the interview, yeah.
Well, that's good.
He asked me to do it, and I basically just talked about my various forums I've been on where I've been kind of mistreated or banned for whatever reason, and I've basically just kind of talked about it and just given some kind of context to it, because it's easy to say, oh well, Pedro's been banned from somewhere, but the context kind of needs to be given on these things. So this is me trying to kind of put into context some stuff that that's been bothering me for a long time. And the reason also, Rob, that I tend to rant a lot about internet bullying, harassment all the time is because I feel there should be some accountability, and I think there needs to be greater awareness for the people who don't have large followings to be able to actually get some advocacy and just.
Well, I don't think that you're wrong. I mean, I think that's a good thing. But
I've said this before. That if your Twitter account got taken down by Twitter for some reason because you said something they didn't like, everyone would know about it. If I got taken down, no one would know about me disappearing from the internet.
Right. Well, but I think both things are equally, it's like the old adage, if there is life in the universe, or if there isn't life in the universe other than us, both answers are equally horrifying. So I think I don't know. The internet is all you have to do is not go on the internet. I mean, the internet is something you can turn off, and then it doesn't matter. Shame
because communities exist on the internet. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, but I think that it's a tough thing to learn to navigate. The internet's life. It's just navigating people. But yeah, and look, and I think when you go into specific communities to talk with people, those specific communities are because, look, I learned this going to science fiction conventions even when I was like 12. Passionate people, sometimes you would get into these knockdown, drag out arguments with people that were relative strangers about like the various merits of different warp drives.
Yeah, and, I mean, for me, it was always political, though. It's because I don't share the same politics as the moderator, the person in charge, so they target me. Yeah, and I'm not even right wing. I'm a centralist. But that being a centralist, they see me. Oh, you're not as progressive as us. You don't like Ghostbusters 2016, so you have to go. Basically, you become a target because you're outspoken, and you're not as
Ghostbusters 2016 isn't that good. It should have been better.
I feel vindicated in some sense about all the stuff I keep getting ganged up and harassed about, like Doctor Who. I feel vindicated, but I deserve an apology, and that's
yeah. But you can't expect apologies on the internet. No,
that would be too easy. That would actually show some integrity. Yeah,
there isn't any, which is a bummer.
Yeah, but so that's it really. So yeah.
Well, you're still here. We still like seeing you.
I'm still alive. I haven't committed suicide. I haven't.
Don't do that. Don't say that.
Right. I'm all right.
Please, Pedro, please don't do that. Anyway, it's good to see you, Pedro. You have a great
look at it this way. I mean, it's better to stick around and torment people than it is to not be around anymore.
I think it's don't feed the trolls, but also but at the same time, I think there needs to be. I try to bring some kind of awareness regarding whatever stupid ideas I have about TV and film. or whatever. I think it's important to have these, and I don't feel guilty about that. But you know, if you're going to go through my public life or sorry, personal life on the internet and shame me, I mean, fine, do whatever you want. But you're calling, like, I'm supposed to be unhinged, but you're the ones who are stalking me across the internet. So yeah, I don't feel too bad, but I do feel that needs to be more. I wish there were more people sticking up for me. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
all right, Pedro.
Good to see you though. Have a good Christmas, good holiday. Christmas is all around us. Remember, kids, don't take drugs, become a pop star, and they give them to you for free.
Rob, I've neglected a couple of super chats and comments, here, so I want to make sure that I don't forget about them. Terry, who has been a member for 34 months, just wanted to say a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to everyone. So thank you.
That's very nice. Thank you.
Alexander Wilson with $5. Rob, did you watch the Korean drama Moving on Hulu yet? I'm 75% of the way done with it, and it's one of the best shows that came out of 2023.
Everybody is telling me to watch this, and I know, other than the fact that everyone's saying how great it is, I have not watched it. And I just picked.
It's the first I've heard of it.
Oh, everyone! And to me, when I hear that it's called Moving, here's what I have in my mind: that it's a family that's just moving out of their house someplace, and it's all about the travails of how it sucks to move. That's in my mind. That's what it's about. And I'm like, is it like, it's like Parasite, but I know nothing about it, but people I'm sure that's not what it's about at all. But every time, I look at it and maybe that's the thing that Elizabeth and I have to start watching. I did just finish. I watched the 4th episode of Reacher.
Yeah. Reacher. I haven't seen episode 4 yet. I'm enjoying the heck out of that show.
I read an article that Reacher is dad fiction. I haven't read all of Lee Child's Jack Reacher books, but I've read like 6 of them, and it's funny, I haven't read the Jack Reacher. This book is the 11th book in the series. They adapted the 1st and then the 11th, so it's not, the books are not supposed to be read necessarily in any kind of a continuity. But I mean, I love bringing back the special investigators. And that woman that he hooked up with, man, what a babe! That Canadian actress.
Wasn't she in the? Didn't she play Medusa in the?
And in Humans.
In Humans series.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, she did. She smoked. Both of those women are smoking hot.
Yeah.
The woman, I think she's from New Zealand. Oh no, really? Maybe she's from. She's like she's either Danish. Maybe she's Danish. I think she's Danish.
Okay.
Both of those women are like, those are the 2 hottest women on TV right now, at least in my mind. And in the 4th episode, they put on dresses.
Oh wow.
Okay. Oh my God.
Okay, well, then I'm gonna have to check. I haven't seen that episode. The one series. By the way, apologies. There was some kind of a weird. I don't know if it was a power surge or something. I think there might have been some stuttering on the stream. I hope we're back now. Don't know if anybody noticed anything on your end over there. So, but the one series I've been watching in Hulu is A Murder at the End of the World.
Oh yeah, people are saying that's good too.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's kind of like a modern take on a murder mystery kind of thing. So, anyway, Moving is going to have to get added to my list as well. I wasn't aware of it. And then we've got RRTNZ from New Zealand, $20 New Zealand. Thank you so much.
Wow, man.
That. And he says, sorry, I can't join you today. Great job, Rob and Roberto, for keeping these chats going. Glad you're staying positive, Rob. It's the best way to be. Hang in there. And then something in Welsh. It says Merry Christmas in Welsh, but I don't know how to pronounce it. Nadolig Lawen Pub, which I'm sure I have done a terrible job with that. But Merry Christmas. From RRTNZ, and thank you for the $20 super chat there.
And Roberto, it's been fun getting to see you in person, going to my friend Clark's house with meeting your son.
That was so much fun. Yeah.
Your son's great. If he ever wants a YouTube, he should come on this channel, and you guys should do a father and son movie review show.
So he and I have been talking about wanting to do what did we call it? We were playing with names the other day, and I think it was 4 faves from Felix. So he could do like 4 favorite things, maybe 4 favorite Spielberg movies, and just kind of yeah.
That's a great idea. Would you do it with him?
I would, yeah. I would just kind of be with him, but kind of make it more his focus kind of thing.
But that would be fun because you could that would be like an evergreen because you can edit that. You should do that.
Yeah.
I was very impressed by your son.
Yeah. Well,
not that I would expect anything less from you and your wife, but he's a very articulate, thoughtful movie fan, and he knows his stuff.
You'd be proud that he gave me his Christmas list, and it was all Criterion Collection titles, and he made sure to put the date of when the sale ended at Barnes & Noble on the list.
That was November. Yeah, that was okay. So
yeah. So he anticipated that, and he's like, "You want to get there before this date, so you can get me some of these movies." So that's
pretty good. I mean, and you buy that. That's a good. That's good. Because if you think about it, if you go get all, did he give you 10? Do you know how many?
He gave me a list. I want to say there was about 10 on it, but then, he just said just any from this list would be fine. You don't have to get all 10, but.
Oh, because even if you got all 10, that's only like $250.
It wasn't that much. Right. But I knew that there were other family members and friends who were also picking from the list. So I think in aggregate, he's going to get a lot more. So.
Nice.
I just got the ones that the few that kind of resonated with me that I also enjoyed, and so I got those for him.
Because it's gotten to the point where I don't buy Criterion discs until there's a sale.
Totally. And,
there's
and even during the sale, I didn't get to go until towards the end. They were still stocked full. I was concerned that it was going to be picked clean, but the demand is just not there. So they had.
I'll tell you what's really depressing to me. Amazon has started showing, or maybe I just noticed this, how many of something they sell. It'll say like 100 plus, 200 plus.
Yeah.
The most I've seen lately of physical media at Amazon has been like 2,000 plus.
Which is
it's shocking.
Yeah.
And the thing is, while physical media is still selling, I think that 2024 will end up being the first year that physical media sales dip below $1 billion. And it seems like, $1 billion is a lot, but like, I'll give you an example. They released a box set. The Picard Legacy box set came out.
Yeah.
Really nice box set with cool swag in it. It has all of Next Generation, the series and the movies, and then Picard seasons 1, 2, and 3, all on Blu-ray. It has not. They made 11,000 of them, and I was worried it was going to sell out. I wanted one. It was expensive. I just didn't have $200, but I wanted it because even though for me personally, all of our documentaries that we made back in 2012 are on those discs. Not all of them, because the individual discs, it's not really the Picard. They don't have everything, because they should have had the Deep Space Nine pilot, and then they should have had the single discs.
Sure.
But whatever. It's still a cool box set, but they haven't sold nearly as many as I would have thought that they would have. Because it's like when physical media, unfortunately, is dying.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
And it's dying a lot faster than I would have thought. Now, people would say, well, Rob, all the boutique companies are doing bang up business, and they are, but they don't have to sell more than.
It's niche. It's a niche thing.
Totally niche. Buying stuff from Vinegar Syndrome. Like I picked up, I'll show it. I picked up Cronenberg's Existence, which looks incredible in 4K. Yeah, and so I got that, came out in 4K from Vinegar Syndrome. I got that at their sale, and then the Lost Films box set they put out. And I've just been buying all this stuff, but even I know that it's going to end.
Yeah.
You can see the writing on the wall, because all of these things are in 4K is the end of the line. There's not going to be an 8K version of a movie.
Right. And
so we're seeing the end of physical media. And now it's like, I don't know, being mortgage poor, I want to go buy like 4 of those $1,500
the players
decks, the players, and put them
Mhm.
away. And more than that, I want to buy like all the belts that go inside them, the rubber belts and
Yeah,
stuff.
because
So
those things will wear out with time passing, even if you don't use them.
and it's another weird thing about it is like I'm looking over, like you can't see, but right here I have 100 laser discs still, and I put them in LP frames because they look cool. The ones on the wall. I'm looking at the laser discs that I've kept. Even like I always show, like just as examples, like the Japanese Star Wars Laserdisc. This is the first letterbox version of Star Wars, or this was the Criterion John Woo Hard Boiled, which is dope.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played either one of these in 25 years. I have a Laserdisc player.
Yeah.
But there's no reason. I mean, some people would say, well, some of the AC3 soundtracks are great, and they are, but there's no reason to watch a Laserdisc ever again.
Right.
Because the picture's terrible compared to even DVD, Blu-ray, and because it's not progressive scan. But I look at my collection of Laserdiscs. I've not played them for 25 years.
Right.
And I'm looking at all, and I've got big, great box sets and all kinds of cool stuff, and I'll never play them again. And it's just, they're dead.
Yeah.
And I know that my entire media collection, I mean, it's funny that I'm still rocking CDs, but
they're becoming museum pieces, right? It's like finding some old piece of technology in a museum that has no use anymore. And that's what it is. It's just an artifact of the past.
When I was in South Korea, I was at a museum and they had the very first VCR that Korea had produced. and I was like, it was my favorite thing to see. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
The first. But it's like these super deluxe editions. By the way, you can hear all this music on Spotify. This album, this Trevor Horn album, is so good. It's unbelievable. And Trevor Horn's Echoes, it's a bunch of covers of songs. It's unreal, especially in Dolby Atmos. But you can go listen to songs on Spotify. There's some really cool stuff.
Very cool. Well, let's keep moving here. Speaking of physical media, Kelvin is about to join us now. Welcome, Kelvin, one of our resident experts on all things physical media. How you doing, Kelvin?
Good, Roberto, and yourself.
Good to see you.
Your Australian companies are still putting out good stuff, though.
That's right, they are. I mean, I did pick up Possession.
Oh, is that the 4K?
Yes.
Nice.
The swag version.
See, I was going to get the swag, but I can't. As much as I wanted the umbrella version, I'm waiting because Second Sight's putting it out.
And I got this as well, the Mad Room. I've never seen it. Don't know much about it.
Wait, what is that? It's the reflection. I can't see that.
Hang on.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either.
Yeah, Stella Stevens, Shelley Winters.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that cast.
Types. It's one of those haggography types, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, I really want to tell you it's because of you and your friend who's doing that documentary about eagles.
That would be Jeffrey Morris.
The eagles have landed. Well, I haven't actually opened.
Oh, so you got those from the Jerry Anderson store?
Yes. Because I looked around and I went, I don't own any. So I haven't actually even opened.
Dude, you have to have eagles. I think I have. Well, it's funny. I don't know why I did this, but let's see if I can get it. I only have my 22-inch eagles and my die-cast eagles, but here's a 14-inch eagle model. And I'm like, I'm going to paint this like it's a Pan Am. I'm going to use Pan Am decals, and I'm going to turn this into a Pan Am 2001 eagle.
Oh, well, okay.
Just because. And
I've got this the wrong way around.
When I finish my Robbie the Robot that I've been painting, I'm gonna start on these eagles.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Did you open that up yet?
I'm just opening it right now.
Oh, look at that box. Nice. Oh, see, now here's the thing. You've got 1612 that used to be Product Enterprises. They made I didn't get in on them, but that's cool. They made 44-inch studio scale Eagles that were like $4,000.
It looks like they're going to be 6 of them.
Yeah.
This chart.
Yeah, because I've got the 1612. I think I have 10 Eagles. I've got 2 die-cast Hawks from War Games, both colors. Yeah, that's sweet. I have the Brian Johnson Eagles, but then I've got the VIP Eagle, Commissioner Simmons VIP Eagle. I've got the Lab Eagle, the Transport Eagle, the Rescue Eagle, the Eagle that has the arm on it.
Oh, right.
You can never have too many Eagles. That's pretty cool. See, I don't have because that's a different scale. You can get the little tiny Eagles with the launch pad from 1612, which I need to get. And then they made a Super Swift. Got to get that too.
It also makes me realize that I don't own any Spectrum Pursuit vehicles or anything.
Come on, man. You got to go. You got to rock the old Corgi Spectrum. That was an awesome vehicle. Actually, that was Dinky. The Spectrum Pursuit vehicle was Dinky.
Because I always remember back to when I was a kid, and I had a friend who had Eagles, and it was like, this is great, but I don't know. It's probably because I went in the direction of Doctor Who or something. I don't know. It probably never occurred that I should buy.
Well, yeah, the Dink. I remember the first time I ever saw the Dinky Eagle. It was at a department store in Bellevue, Washington, and it was in a glass case, and it was $14. And for me, I was like, how can a little miniature eagle cost $14? That was like the most expensive toy. And I was looking at my dad. I'm like, Dad, I explained to him it wasn't my birthday and it wasn't the holidays or anything. It was probably in the middle of the summer or something. And I said, Dad, I have to have this. I have to have this. And I think I either got it for my birthday or I got it for the holidays, or I got it for Hanukkah or something. And yeah, that toy, that Dinky toy, because Dinky made a UFO interceptor. They made Lady Penelope's car. They made Thunderbird 2. They made the Spectrum Pursuit vehicle, and then they terribly made the Enterprise and a D7 battlecruiser from Star Trek. the Dinky Enterprise, even though I bought it, or I had it, was one of the stupidest toys. I was like, what the fuck? What is this? It was so stupid, but you couldn't not have it. I mean, it was awful looking. Like I always wanted to interview the people at Dinky, like, who thought this was a good idea? It's terrible. I mean, Thunderbird 2 looked like Thunderbird 2, even though it was the wrong color. I never understood that either. I'm like, why is Thunderbird 2 blue? Why isn't it green? And why is the Shadow Interceptor, the mobile support vehicle looked amazing. The mobile support vehicle that had the spring-loaded top where the rocket launcher would be underneath, that was one of the greatest toys ever. That looked perfect. And then they made the Shadow Interceptor green too. Like, who was thinking? I never understood when we were kids why they made stupid shit like that. Like, I didn't understand. Like, why don't these toys look like they look in the movies or on the TV? I mean,
it's bizarre, but you're right. But the other weird thing, of course, is how many that they, once the show was over, they would turn up as described as space vehicle.
Oh yeah,
clearly.
So stupid. I hated that, and it used to make like for instance, this is how insane I was when I was a kid. So you could get a model of Darth Vader's TIE fighter, but you couldn't get a model of a regular TIE fighter. So when you're a kid, you're like, okay, well, I need his wingman. You can't play with the Darth Vader TIE fighter because he's
not solo going down behind the Falcon or something.
No, and plus Darth Vader, like if you wanted to have TIE fighters go after the Millennium Falcon, Darth Vader wasn't the only, you needed. So Estes model rockets made these TIE fighter rockets, but how they worked was the TIE fighter portion and the proportions were really correct. They were the bottom of the rocket. So what you did was you stuck the TIE fighter on the rocket, and it would go through. You take the hexagonal piece off the front, and it would blast through the TIE fighter. So I made my mom buy me 2 Estes rockets of the TIE fighter, and I just wanted the TIE fighter portion of it that was vacuum formed plastic, and so I had these 2 perfect TIE fighter models, and I threw away all the rest of the rocket stuff because I was never going to launch them. And my mom's like, "What are you doing?" I go, "Well, Mom, I wanted these 2 TIE fighters." She's like, "But you're throwing away all this stuff." I'm like, "No, I just wanted the TIE fighter. I didn't need the rocket part." And my mom was furious with me. And then I built them and I painted them the correct color.
You should have just pretended to have used the rocket bits for something else.
Yeah, probably. I just was like, I wanted it. I didn't need the mess of all those rocket parts. I just wanted the model. And then, even the toy TIE fighters that Kenner made were white. They weren't that blue-gray color. I'm like, why is it white? Why can't you make it the right way? What do you think? We're stupid? I hated that.
Yeah. I do have one last physical movie scene which I'm looking to watch. The Peter Cushing Curiosities.
Yes. How is that? I haven't
actually cracked it open yet, but I read a bit of a review from Tim Lucas, who said that they made Tender Dracula so much better than I watched a really rubbish version not that long ago, but I'm interested because the Sherlock Holmes series has actually taken it from the protected videotapes from the BBC. So they've gone back to as far back as you can get. So I'm looking forward to that. And with that, Rob, I wish you happy Hanukkah. And of course, it's Christmas Eve here today.
Oh, right, because you're ahead of us. So it is Christmas Eve for you. You're across that date line.
Exactly. All right. Thanks again, Rob. And we'll catch up with you again next time.
Next time.
Good to see you, Kelvin.
I'll see you next year, Kelvin.
Yeah, we'll see you next year.
Exactly.
All right. And he'll be ahead of us by a day when we see him next year. Yeah. So, all right. We have Israel coming up. Queuing you here. Go ahead. Hello, Israel. How's it going?
What's up, dude? I like when I can find anime news I can throw your way.
Dude, I saw the link that you sent me, and I already knew about it, but it just kind of made me upset again. I cannot stand this trend with anime studios being like, yeah, we'll release this Demon Slayer movie where we string the last 3 episodes of the previous season and the premiere of the new season and just call it a movie. I can't stand it, but I'll be there.
Right. There's something I wanted to tell you about that I didn't tell you about. Something that I didn't know. Did you know that there is a stage version of Spirited Away?
Yeah.
Okay. I did not know this. So, and it came out on Blu-ray in November.
It even released in theaters over the summer.
I did not know that, and I need to get it. So I'm going to have to buy it, but it's a box set, and I got to check it out. It looks really cool. So,
no, I thought I didn't watch it. I ultimately didn't have that much of an interest, but I thought that the way they went about doing some of the things were really cool because, Spirited Away, I don't know how you do some of that just based on how creative the animation is, but they found a way to do a lot of it. And I was like,
they did.
That's interesting.
It looks really, really neat. So, and it had a really interesting director who very well thought of director do it. Yeah. Kind of like Julie Taymor doing Lion King.
Right. Okay. Have you seen The Boy and the Heron, Rob?
I have not.
Oh, what's keeping you from doing it?
Well, I've barely seen. I had to finish this audio drama and the proof of concept, and then working on White Devils, and there's a few other things I've been working on. It's just been hard, and to catch up with movies that we're talking about on the John Campea show, I haven't. But I want to spend the time between Christmas and New Year's just seeing movies. Yeah. So I want to go see it. Just hang out, and go. And also because we've had puppies here, having to deal with the puppies has been tough.
Right. Puppies are always a problem. Well, not a problem, just a handful.
Yeah, especially when have 11 dogs in one house. It's terrible.
Yeah, no, but I've, with the Christmas season, I've been able to see a lot more movies lately. And so on Thursday, I saw Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
All
And
right.
then yesterday, I saw The Iron Claw.
Oh, how'd you like that?
Oh, The Iron Claw, knowing nothing about it, I loved it. It was awesome. It was very sad. But my dad, he did grow up with it. And so he knew the whole backstory
Right.
and everything. And he thought that they did it very respectfully. And he thought it was a very accurate portrayal of what he went through. Because, they were from Texas. We're from Texas. So that was the family my dad followed when he was a kid watching wrestling.
Nice. Yeah, I'm very interested in that.
Yeah, and everybody's talking about Zac Efron's performance, but to me, Jeremy Allen White was the one that really stole the show. But I do think that it's probably one of, if not Zac Efron's best performances. But I still think that Jeremy Allen White, I think he doesn't show up until probably 30 to 45 minutes into the movie. But once he does, I would say it's kind of his movie for the rest of it. He kind of steals every scene he's in.
Right.
So I'm surprised there's not as much conversation about his performance, but and then Aquaman. Oh man. I didn't hate it. The first 45 minutes I thought was like abysmal. I was like, oh no. Because I am a DC fan. I haven't read a bunch of comics, but if there has been a comic that I've read, I've enjoyed the DC comics that I've read more than the Marvel comics I've read. And so that's I've always just kind of assumed that I would be more on the side of the DC fandom. And so it's not been fun watching how the DCEU, especially lately, but let's be real, since its inception kind of played out. So it kind of went out as it began with a very mixed reaction.
Right.
And hopefully the DCU turns it around. But I thought it was fine enough. I thought once Patrick Wilson shows up, the movie kind of goes back to how I felt about the first one, which I really enjoyed. It has that vibe again. And then I think the wrap up was a little strange. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
What do you think about the final scene of the movie? The final line that comes out of Jason Momoa's mouth.
I guess that's how they had to end it.
Do you think that they knew what they were doing, or it was just Jason Momoa improving and they didn't even think about it?
No, I think that they knew. I mean, I think that I don't know if he was improving, but they knew, and there was so many reshoots. I didn't know what was in originally in the film, and I know because there were other superhero cameos they cut out and shot. I mean, what was interesting to me was it felt like that movie just went through a bunch of iterations, and it was never like from the script stage. A lot of the time this happens with these big franchise movies. They don't even have a solid script when they start. And that's what it felt like to me. I thought they had a solid premise. Like the idea behind it was pretty good. It just wasn't well executed. I mean, they didn't.
Yeah, something I was talking about with because my mom didn't have a chance to see it. She was at work, so me and my dad went and saw it. And so she's a huge DC fan, so we were talking about it. And I said, what was interesting is the first Aquaman to me was just very much, Arthur's story.
Right.
But then when you pair this film with it, it became a lot more of a story about revenge with Black Manta, and also a story about brothers coming to love each other. And I was like, I think the two of these as like one 5-hour film could be a pretty enjoyable watch,
That's interesting.
Some ripped dudes with tridents. Like, dude, come on, dude.
Well, that was the thing. The first movie reminded me of like Ray Harryhausen stop motion animated films like Jason and the Argonauts or Sinbad movies, and it was just so bonkers that and there was a lot of imagery in Lost Kingdom that I really liked. Like a lot of the effects work, and it was just so gonzo, and you don't see anything with that level of imagination in it. But it just felt like they never got a handle on what the story was supposed to be.
I think, especially because of James Wan's horror background, that some of the imagery he dreams up with, I'm just like, that is so interesting that not a lot of Yeah, for example, nothing against John Watts, but that's not something John Watts would ever come up with, visually speaking.
No.
And that's that. I think that DC hiring so many, you know, with the Shazam director, with Aquaman, hiring so many horror directors to do these projects. At first, you know, when they first announced it, you might be like, well, that's kind of weird. But then you see how these play out, and especially with the 7 deadly sins in Shazam, and also like how they kill everybody in that one scene in the first Shazam, and then, you know, like the trench sequence from the first Aquaman, and some of the visuals, like it was in the trailers, but I won't talk about the plot line, like the dead army and this one, like very visually creative.
Yeah,
and I thought that was really cool.
Well, it's funny because I liked both The Flash and I liked Fury of the Gods, the second Shazam movie.
I like The Flash. I cannot stand Fury of the Gods. I thought it was awful.
Well, I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it,
Yeah.
I guess, because it was Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu, and I enjoyed a lot of that stuff. But and I like Blue Beetle. I thought Blue Beetle was okay.
Yeah,
you know, they weren't. None of them were groundbreaking. I mean, I think The Flash was a lot better than when I saw it at CinemaCon. They showed us the whole movie. I really enjoyed it. I think the audience really enjoyed it too. It was interesting to see the kind of backlash.
Yeah,
because I felt like the Flash movie was exactly the movie they set out to make.
Mm-hmm.
It just, you know, it wasn't. Then again, I love the MCU through Endgame, and watching the MCU kind of go off the rails. It's all been very interesting to me. Like, all of a sudden we were on this trajectory of superhero movies going a certain direction, and now we're back to square one.
Yeah. No, I mean,
the superhero movie is it's not just that it died. The superhero movie forgot that it was on this evolutionary path.
I know. And it's like, it's weird because Kevin Feige's still in charge, and it's almost like he's kind of forgotten. It's like we're at the point where when Iron Man reshaped everything, we're at that starting point again. But
yeah. You're exactly right.
And so we have to redo it all over again. And, you know, one of them is restarting. So it might be interesting to see if DC takes the cake. But my time's up, so I'm going to ask one last question. With how the Jonathan Majors situation played out, do you think they're going to recast Kang and just limit him until maybe Secret Wars and just not really go into it all that much until like the final film? Or do you think they're going to pivot and go to like Doctor Doom or something like that? I've even heard theories that if they don't do Kang at all until Secret Wars, which is in 2027, they might be able to bring back Jonathan Majors for one final performance and be able to get away with it. I don't know.
Honestly, I don't think anybody cares about Kang. When they told me that they were bringing Kang in, I'm like, yes. I was so excited because I like Kang as a villain in the comics. And the Kang Dynasty storyline's great, but it involves the entire Marvel universe. I think they've botched Kang entirely. I think if we never saw Kang again, nobody would care. And it's because they haven't created him. They didn't establish him as he's been defeated, like he was defeated multiple times in different movies. And the idea that you brought in the Council of Kangs at the end of Quantumania, when you saw that, was ridiculous. Although they were not formidable at all. You know, they all look like soccer hooligans at a British football match between like Manchester and Arsenal or something. I don't know. I don't think they. And Kang Dynasty, we don't even know who the Avengers are anymore. Like, if you were to ask me who are the Avengers, I couldn't tell you. Who are the Avengers?
You know, my theory on that is, I don't think, and they haven't, I don't know if they've said this in the movies yet or said something that contradicts this, but my theory is that ever since Endgame, there aren't an official Avengers, because they were also disbanded by the government after Civil War, right?
Right.
So I don't think there is an official Avengers. So I don't think they know. I think they're just waiting for some threat that will destroy humanity comes along, and then whatever heroes show up, that's the Avengers.
I mean, we're only getting, for the first time in a long time, one Marvel movie in 2024, and that's Deadpool 3.
Yeah.
And Deadpool 3 is not really an MCU movie, that it stars 2 Fox film characters.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I had this my theory that I think that none of Phase 4 and 5, all of them are taking place on different universes. That they're not in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We just haven't known that, you know, and that's something. But I just don't care. I mean, my interest in Star Wars movies, my interest in Star Trek movies, and my interest in Marvel movies has been completely. I have no interest in them at all, and I love them. I couldn't wait for Infinity War and Endgame. These movies now don't have any interest. Don't care, because they're not doing anything. In the wake of Endgame, they had like a really great opportunity. Like, what happens if you thought about it? Humanity has to deal with the fact that half of humanity disappeared for 5 years. Well, what is that going to? That would shake our belief systems to our core. All the religions of the world would be in disarray because they would have no way to explain what happened. Because the existential nature of, if you were winked out of existence for 5 years and brought back, where were you? In what, from a scientific perspective, what state did you exist? Was it like a Schrodinger's cat thing? How were you able to come back? And if you were able to come back, what would theologians say about it? Because if you could be winked out of existence for 5 years and brought back, why couldn't you bring back people who've died? Where would they go?
Yeah. Did you go to heaven or hell? Or
our entire and also, if that were the case, if there are other beings out there, if these infinity stones are out there, you could say, oh, we can't get them anymore, or whatever. The universe, the planet Earth would have been so shattered by these events. And it's like, whatever. We came back. They never dealt with the ramifications. And where I'm going with this is that the very nature of who heroes and superheroes are supposed to be, they failed. Eventually you could say, okay, we were brought back, but the heroes themselves were given, time travel. You can't solve problems by going to different universes or different. And they could have had a really interesting opportunity to now move the Marvel Cinematic Universe forward. But the universe itself, Earth itself, humanity itself would have been so irrevocably changed that the nature of what it meant to be a hero would change as well. And then you could go back and re-examine, what does it mean? Like, what are people going to be like? Are they going to go back to their normal everyday lives? And they could have played that and made some really interesting movies. I'm not saying you don't make superhero movies, but you could have really examined some really interesting issues. And all they tried to do was go back and do these generic, like, who cares about the quantum realm? Like, nothing in the quantum realm really matters. And going to the quantum realm, the great thing about Marvel is why it worked is Marvel was set in the real world. It wasn't some production designed nightmare. It was like our real world. You wanted to believe that outside our windows we might see Thor fly by or something, and they took all of that away. And so the Marvel universe, I have no interest in it at all, because once Thanos has snapped his fingers and you've come back from that, if you're not going to deal with that on a global scale, if you've got Celestials coming out of the ground and Arashem the judge saying he's going to come back and judge humanity, none of it makes any sense. They had built a really great universe, and now all of it, from the supernatural and Ralph Boner hiring the actor who played Quicksilver, Evan Peters, who's a great actor, but then making that all a joke. It was like, fuck you guys. I have no interest.
It's like as if, and I guess on some level they've kind of done this, but it's as if, after the Empire rises in Star Wars and then the rebellion takes it out, that's as if like the universe just completely forgets about the Empire altogether, doesn't learn any lessons, and they're just like, oh, okay, la-di-da, like that 20 years didn't just happen where we were all under a Sith's control.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, the Star Wars sequels, I think, are ultimately very bad movies because they don't try and do anything other than recreate the original trilogy and just play. It's like watching a cover band playing the same song, and it doesn't deal with the ramifications of any of that. And it turns our heroes, Luke, Han, Leia, Chewie, Lando, R2, 3PO, into idiots for allowing. Why would you allow the First Order to rise? I mean, how long did it take to build a whole planet into Starkiller Base? I mean, according to Star Wars lore, it took like 20 years for the Geonosians to build the Death Star.
Hey, come on, Rob. There's trillions in the galaxy. Trillions.
but it's in firing distance of the head of it's all that's I think today's storytellers, whether it's Star Trek, Star Wars, the MCU, they have forgotten that they have to set their stories in a believable universe. They're just doing whatever they want, and they've shattered all of their believability, all of their verisimilitude. None of it works anymore. And because the people that are working in these franchises are bad storytellers.
Yeah. Do you I know I've heard you talk about that. You think that the MCU should reboot. Do you think that Star Wars should reboot where they're at?
No,
just altogether, blank slate.
I honestly, you know what? There are only 2 Star Wars movies in my mind. There's Star Wars and Empire, and everything after Empire Strikes Back has been compromised. And I know people love Return of the Jedi, but Return of the Jedi is a beginning and an ending, and nothing in the middle makes any difference. You know, that entire movie, Return of the Jedi, it's called Return of the Jedi. You should have made it, you know, Luke rescues his friend, and then he has to go become a Jedi. All that stuff on Endor and the shield generator and all that crap, it doesn't mean anything. And you're watching a replay of attacking the Death Star, which you know they're going to destroy because they destroyed it the first time. And to me, I've now decided that in my mind, you have Andor, Rogue One, Star Wars, and Empire. That's it. The rest of it can all go away. I don't care. I know I never thought I would be in that position, but all of the everything else is like world building into the Star Wars universe, and the stories that are being told don't work. None of them work. They don't work. Whereas Star Wars and Empire work, and Jedi, I guess, kind of works because you do get Luke confronting but Jedi only works because the end of that movie, the Luke Empire, Luke Emperor Vader stuff is like, if that's all that they made, if you had the rest, you could take a Return of the Jedi would be great to me if they rescue Han Solo, and then you see Luke and Luke confronting the Emperor. Could be a 30-minute short, and I'd be done. Great. But Star Wars to me again is a franchise that's completely spun off the rails. I'm watching Ahsoka. I'm like, what is this about? Like, seriously, I don't know what Ahsoka is supposed to be about other than itself. It's only about Star Wars lore. There's no real underlying story there. You know, it's just about, well, we have plot threads dangling from Rebels and Clone Wars. Let's go play those out. I don't even know what I was watching. I'm watching this going, why does any of this matter? What is the tale that is being told here? Where's your 3-act structure? Where is your hero's journey? Ahsoka's not learning anything she doesn't already know. And I feel that it's fascinating to me to watch the implosion of all of these franchises. And I would include Doctor Who into that too. And it's too bad. But all of these, and maybe in a way, from the wreckage of all of these franchises, we will see something born anew. Like I look at For All Mankind, that's an interesting way too. But it's bummed me out. That's why people are turning to manga and anime and things from other countries, because they're true to themselves. Whereas in America, we're checking boxes and trying to we're telling bad stories within our franchises.
I mean, Godzilla -1, I think, is a clear example of that, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's these stories are so ill-conceived. You know, the Rise of Skywalker rivals Star Trek Into Darkness to me as 2 of the worst big budget science fiction movies ever made. They're both just awful movies.
Yeah, agreed. Well, Rob, we are at the 2-hour mark, which is usually when we say goodbye to our friends on YouTube. The chat, of course, continues with those of you, those members who are here with us today. But I believe, as far as announcements, I think you have a Midnight Metal happening tonight. Is that correct?
We do. We're doing Midnight Metal. I mean, I didn't check with Lael and but I just figured they'd be. I didn't, you know, with people preparing for Christmas.
Right.
Dave Parker suggested it. And I figured, okay, well,
right.
Dave Parker will come back and watch us fight
to the death.
But yeah, we're doing a Midnight Metal. tonight.
Well, so for those of you on YouTube, have a happy holiday. We're not going to be doing a member chat until the new year, so we will see you in the new year. Rob, any last minute messages or musings before we say goodbye to our YouTube friends?
Just that I'm very grateful for all of the support that I've received this year on the channel and from everybody watching. I'll tell you, the thoughtful letters that I've been getting, the commentary on the shows has been very gratifying to see, and hopefully I can bring more of that to we're going to have our 1000th episode sometime in the first 3 months of the new year, which I'm already recording some interviews for, which are going to be interesting because I am doing a 1,000-minute show that's 16 plus hours.
You should bring like Israel and me and everybody. We could do like a telethon. You know how we go take
yeah,
breaks?
no, I'm going to bring because I'm going to have to leave and but I've got some like that because I liked doing those during the pandemic, doing those 400 the 400th episode with all this great. It's harder to get people now because now everybody's doing interviews and it's hard to book people and stuff, but trying to do some pre-record, and I'm going to finally release the very first interview I did with Star Trek author Diane Duane.
Oh, nice.
I thought I'd lost that interview, but I didn't. So I've got that. She's got some really interesting things to say, even though that interview will be 5 years old.
But it'll be a nice little kind of time capsule of where how far you've come since that initial.
Because I was still sitting in my in the laundry room.
In the laundry room, yeah.
So
awesome.
So it's been great to have everybody, and I still have all these other shows that I want to get. It's just been it's hard. It's going to be weird to try and get stuff off the ground because I really have to start thinking about I do want to make more movies. And this audio drama has been so much fun to do.
Cool.
So
all right, everyone, so we will say goodbye to the stream, but those of you who are still here in the chat continues. So we will see you as far as the MOC Squad is lead. We'll see you next year. I'm sure Rob will still have a few more things before the end of the year, including Midnight Metal this evening. Is there going to be a Let's Get Physical Media tomorrow, or is that
no there isn't because it's Christmas Eve and Dieter, it'll be his Christmas Eve evening.
Got it.
So he's got friends and stuff, so we're going to do one next week on New Year's Eve.
Sounds good.
Where we go over which is good because there's still a few things I need to pick up for the end of the year.
All right,
because I am too but
all right.
So,
well, with that, we will say goodbye to our friends on YouTube, and the chat continues for the members. We'll take care, everybody.